Audible High School Football Friday is on the air. Kimbo Camper, Joe Rose. Whoa, Joe Rose. Joe, what happened to you, man? Huh? You lost a little weight?
Yes. Yes, a lot of weight.
Larry Bluestein, the Dean of High School Football in Dade and Broward County, the commissioner of everything that goes on in South Florida when it comes to high school football. Appreciate you stopping over with us, man.
It's my pleasure, Kim.
Yeah,
you know that.
Joe
and I worked together for many years. So
Joe had somewhere to be, so we're happy you could fill in. And this is one of the great rivalries in South Florida down here, Southridge and Palmetto. We're at Tropical Park, and beautiful place for football.
Awesome.
Looks like it's be a great night. The game starts at 7:30, but as I said, Larry, this is one of those long-time rivalries in South Florida, and just another chapter tonight for them.
Yeah, no doubt. And when you talk about 8A football, this has become the epicenter. This district that also has Killian, also has South Dade, two teams that have played competitive football for a long time. But the thing is, Kim, that really is neat about this rivalry is it isn't really a rivalry. South Ridge has dominated this team. Yeah. Even last year, Palmetto won the district but lost this game. Yeah. So it shows you how important and maybe not important it is at the same time. But you want to come out of here as far as Palmetto. Palmetto has come up. Last year they got to this point. Yep. They did the same thing. They knocked off a Naples team in Naples, yep. which is unheard of. Yep. 2 years in a row. They're undefeated at this point. I was at last week's game. And I told you before that they're going to have to play a lot better to win tonight. You got on the other side, Southridge, loaded with talent, loaded with tradition, and a lot of coaches. Don Solinger and everybody that's come through there. So it's steeped in tradition against a Palmetto program that's been around a long time and has produced a lot of great athletes.
Both of them having a good season so far. Yeah. Hey, the Audible High School Football Friday is presented by Nike. This season has arrived, and it's time to get the latest gear. Check out Nike.com for more. And, Larry, one of the things we talked about, I was talking to the athletic director from Palmetto before we went in the air, and I didn't realize, and we've done a lot of games down in Dade County, been to Traz and all over different places to go. I didn't realize that there are very few, if any, schools in high schools in Dade and Broward, in Dade County that have their own fields. So they've got to come to Tropical Park. They've got to go to Traz Powell. They've got to go to the different. I think there's 7 stadiums around that they use down in Homestead. I didn't realize that until today.
If the people are listening at home, I will tell you right now, that is something that needs to be addressed. Yeah. Ever since I was in high school and I grew up in this area and went to North Miami, we all shared 1 or 2 stadiums, and it has come to the point now where we're sitting now used to be a horse race track. Yeah. And for years and years and years, and then they turned it into a great facility. But right now, 11 schools use it.
I think I bet on a horse that was running here at Tropical. Yeah. I think he's right over there in the backstretch
still coming in years later. But not only that, is when you take a look at this facility, 11 schools use it, even out west. So if you're a commissioner anywhere out in West Miami-Dade, you got to think about getting a place for schools like Braddock and schools that are west in Ferguson, because this is inundated by, Coral Gables uses its home, Palmetto. And the thing is this year, North Miami Stadium, which usually has 5, 6, 7, teams play at it, is out of commission because the stands are not, you can't use it. So it's unheard of when you tell people around the country that's how a lot of these programs make their revenue through having.
Well, that's it. Because we were talking to him. He says, "Look, you got to come out here, and it costs you $1,000, $1,100, whatever it costs to rent the stadium, and you don't make any money." He says, they were able to play. I guess Southridge has a school,
they have
a
park. Stadium,
It's right, but it's county owned. It's a county owned park. It just happened to abut their campus.
In Alonzo Morning too.
Yeah, so they're able to play there and make some money. Whereas here, it's a losing proposition.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is a marquee game, obviously, but you're not going to have a billion people. It's not going to be like it was last week for Berlin and Columbus, where it's more of a social rivalry rather than a football rivalry.
So you got Southridge is at 4-1, right. Palmetto's 4-0.
Yes.
They both come in with high expectations on this football team, and you look at them and. typical Dade County football team. They got some big guys, and they got some guys that can run down here now.
Well, Southridge, you would think that they've traveled probably the tougher road so far. I mean, they lost to Booker T. Washington. Never a shame. I mean, people go, oh, well, they're 4A. But you know what? Look at how many state championship rings they have. They were a national champion. So losing to them isn't, anything new. They lost to Rockledge, which is a team that was in a mix for 5A last year. I mean, they actually played them, and they beat them just 24-12 last week. But I'm just saying, that's the teams that they kind of play so far. Where Palmetto had Gables last week, which was a tough game. This is Palmetto by far their first test. Yeah. I think that Southridge has already had tests. I think this is Palmetto's first legitimate test.
Hey, Larry, explain to me I remember not so long ago 5A was the highest. Now these are 8A schools. Is it still all about enrollment, number of kids and why so many? Why so many divisions now? Why 8A, 7A, 6A, 5A? Why is that?
Well, yeah, there's different enrollments now. I mean, teams go up and they have a choice. I mean, you could always go up, but you can't go down. Yeah. So I don't, to tell you the truth, there's not a lot of emphasis anymore because I think what's going to happen when they all vote is I think they're going to all vote on regions instead of districts. Yeah. So then you get the 10 or the 8 best teams from the region. And then end of story. You don't have 3 and 7 teams. And, I think that's what's ultimately going to happen. But in Miami-Dade County, it's a region within itself. Yeah. It's the only area in the country that probably it's within a football region in itself, Bo. And when you take 8A football teams, you've got the best of it is in the south end of town and, the south end of the county. And that's where these two teams come in. And like I said, it's not vital to win, but by winning you get a lot of points, especially if you're one of these two teams because they're so highly ranked, and points are everything at the end of the year for seeding. I've
got Palmetto High School head football coach Mike Menescal joining us here. Mike, thanks for stopping in for a little bit, man.
Up, Coach?
Big game for you guys tonight, right? This is a big test. You guys have been playing well, 4-0 coming into this one, and face a good test and a huge rivalry for you guys.
Definitely a huge rivalry. First district game, so we're looking forward to getting after it, man. I hate the waiting around. You know how it is. It's been good, man. We've had a tough one last week. I think it prepared us for something like tonight, and we're just excited to get it going, man. Waiting to get that ball in the air.
Coach, you have an opportunity to push this team over the hump in the regular season. As I was telling Bo and I were just talking, you lost this game, but you won the district last year. You probably, if you had to think it over, winning this game doesn't put the pressure on you to win out like last year.
Right.
Talk about that, because I know that last year you earned it was playoff time every week down the stretch for you, and I know that you'd much rather at least be able to understand that you have a little breathing room.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we've been 8-1 the last 2 regular seasons. Our only loss to these guys.
Right.
So definitely this is a huge one. I mean, we started this one on the calendar. We feel really good. Kids prepared well. But you're right. I mean, instead of chasing points, we can go ahead and take care of business early and kind of make sure we're playing well at the end, because I mean we still got a really tough schedule ahead, but obviously this is a marquee game for us.
This football team, what kind of problems do they present for you?
They're very athletic at every position. They got some outstanding cover guys. They got outstanding guys where they get the ball in their hand and make you miss. Their defense has played lights out so far this year. So like I said, there's going to be matchups. Like I told the Miami Herald, there's going to be matchups galore tonight, and that's what's going to be, the individual matchups, to see how we can handle those.
Well, you have the marquee kids. I mean, you have Cornelius Nunn. A lot of people know about him. I've seen him quite a few times. I saw the updated version last week. Anytime this guy has his hands on the ball or he's near the ball, he's electric. You also have a quarterback in Carrick Rackley, who you have told me a lot of times that this is a guy that you feel when he's in that lineup, you have a tremendous chance to win. Talk about those two guys and what they mean to your team.
Oh, definitely. Anytime 12's back there under center, we got a shot. 5's probably one of the most electric playmakers I've ever had in 17 years of coaching high school down here. He can do it all, both sides of the ball, special teams. 12's just so good as a leader. He's not a rah-rah guy. He's a lead-by-example guy. But, man, he's got such a great head on his shoulders. He checks us in and out of plays. He can call out the blitzes, things that, in order to play at a high level in high school, especially in Miami, you got to be able to do.
You talk about losing to these guys twice over the last 2 years. Your only losses during the regular season,
right.
and it is a rivalry game. I'd imagine your guys are pretty jacked up for this, and like you said, you've circled that on the calendar a long time back. But how much does a rivalry play into this game? Look, it's about winning games, but these teams have been rivals for a long time, and that doesn't go away easily.
Right. There's no motivation for this week. You know what I mean? This is you either get up or get out. This is one of those kind of games. Our kids have had a fire in their eye all week. I'm just really excited to see them. I think we prepared well. But you're right. I mean, it's down south football in our district, Palmetto, Southridge, South Dade, Killian, Homestead. It doesn't get better in 8A than down south where we're at.
Coach, in closing, definitely last week's game, a lot of penalties. You talked to me at halftime. You go say, you know what, you make 9, 7 of those were on emotion or legal procedure. I mean, for you, you're not great, but you're getting there, I'll tell you. Talk about that because, that's something you can't afford tonight. Because you had a couple of good plays called back, which tonight are going to be vital. Talk about what that is being as the number one priority.
No, like we spoke before, that's not us. That's not who we are. We had the bye week the week before, and it really showed. Having a bye week early on in high school is usually not the greatest thing, maybe at any level, really, having that bye week early on. It really showed the rust. It really showed some things that we were trying to get done that maybe we did not get done in the bye week. Had some coaches out for personal reasons in the bye week, that me included, so it was tough. But it was good to get the win, showed the resiliency of our kids. And, hopefully we got it all out on Thursday night last week.
Coach, well, thank you for stopping by. Wish you the best of luck tonight, and should be a good football game. Good luck to you for the rest of the year.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
There's your cheering fans.
The cheering section out there.
Yeah. How much an hour you paying them, Coach?
Hey, before we get to Southridge, look at what we got here. We're going to talk to the Southridge coach here coming up a little bit.
Okay.
Artist Knight, 27 years this guy's been a coach.
I know.
Long time down here, and does a pretty good
landscape.
job there. Knows exactly what's going on down here. So we'll talk to him here in a little bit. But let's talk a little bit as we do on this program every week. We'll talk about the Dolphin game coming up. Big game, New England. The team's 3-0 right now. I don't think they've played. A complete football game yet. I think they've left a lot on the table. I think they all agree with that. But they've got a great opportunity. New England's a football team that's been a thorn in their side. They've owned the AFC East for decades now. You're going up to New England, and if you watched New England play last week against Detroit, who Detroit, by the way, looked horrendous week one.
Yeah, they did.
And they handled New England. I haven't seen New England look this way in a long time. But that being said,
that was a huge but right there.
It's New England. It's up there, and they got Tom Brady, and they got Bill Belichick, and they got Gronkowski. And that place, Larry, I've been there times where the Dolphins have gone up there in the first half and looked like they've had them on their heels, and then all of a sudden they come out in the second half and it's like a tsunami. They just come out and just start to, just by the end of the game, what hit them? It was one of those things. But I think it's an opportunity, and Larry, it's also an opportunity to look at this football team and measure and give them a measuring stick as to how good they are and what they need to do for the rest of the year.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, you take a look at, they've been here before. They've been at this gate before, but just can't knock it in. This is a program, and, how could you feel any other way? I mean, New England has been able to dominate when Miami, when they needed to. I mean, and that's the only reference point that the fans have to go on for so long. As you illustrated, you go up there and do some special things, but inevitably they're going to come out on top. I think what Miami has a chance to do under the Adam Gase era is show everybody, listen, we're not the same team that's been here 15, 20 years. We're a whole different team. You come down 4-0, 3 games in hand on New England especially, then you could start thinking, hey, you know what? We've got the right formula. The thing that I think that has really helped the Dolphins is this defense. This defense comes up with the big plays. They get some turnovers. And I think that's what that needs to be to get this offense and not put every single bit of pressure on Ryan Tannehill because he's got enough pressure or even, no matter what he does. So I think in a solid running game, I think this team has a chance to go someplace where a lot of teams haven't been.
We'll get back to that a little bit bit. Artis Knight, the head coach at Southridge, is here going to join us a little bit and talk about his football team. Currently, they're 4-1 coming into this football game. Coach, how you doing tonight, man?
Hey, how's it
Good
going?
seeing you,
Good.
Coach.
Got a big one tonight, huh? A little rivalry action, and you guys know each other really well.
Yeah.
You've taken care of business with them over the last couple of years. The only losses they've had in the regular season each of the last 2 years. So you come in with the upper hand,
Right.
but I'm sure they got a little chip on their shoulder. They want to teach you guys a lesson a little bit tonight.
Yeah, they do. I was just talking to Coach Menescal and was letting him know that most of these kids played Pop Warner ball together.
Yep.
Larry Bluestein knows about this.
Yeah.
Some of them on the same team, so it's a historic rivalry, you know what I'm saying?
Speaking of, you won 3 national championships at the
Yeah.
Pop Warner level.
Exactly. And to be honest with you, about 5 or 6 of them are on Palmetto.
Oh, yeah,
and about 7 or 8
yeah.
on Southridge's team.
Yeah.
So, it's a little bit a conflict of interest, but,
Pretty close to them. They're only, 6-7 miles apart, the two schools. So
Exactly.
obviously there's some kids at the youth level that have played together and or that you've seen around.
Right. This is neighborhood bragging rights.
Yep.
You know how it goes. These kids, they go out together on Saturdays, but on Fridays, they're
Yep.
banging heads right now. You know what I'm saying?
Coach, we were talking about this district, and you had mentioned a couple of those teams. You add in Killian and South Dade, who both have potential to be very good teams. Killian, throughout the years, has been able to, because they have that drawing power. They're a larger school.
Right.
They have so if they're down, it's not going to be for long. So
Right.
you take a look at this 8A district, and I was telling Kim that this has an opportunity to be one of the most competitive in the state, by far.
Oh, I think it is. I think right now, South Dade probably has the upper hand right now with Palmetto coming in there, and we're trying to sneak in the back door. I'll be honest with you, it's going to be a barn burner tonight, but, we understand that this district is very tough. We lost the out-of-conference game to Booker T a couple of weeks ago in double overtime, a tough loss, but, we're trying to get back on track right now, and I think it's going to be a good one tonight.
What do you expect to see from these guys from Palmetto?
To be honest with you, I think they're more physical than they were in the past,
Yeah.
And me and Coach Menescal were just talking. I think they match up more athletically with us now than they did in the past. And this is why it's going to go real deep till the clock hit 000s tonight.
Coach, in the past, Southridge wouldn't play the toughest schedule. I mean, they play what they did to get back. But suddenly, over the last couple of years, things are changing. You said Booker T. You have Carroll City coming up, who may be as good as any junior college around.
Exactly.
And then you went up for a game
With
against
Rockledge.
a Rockledge team that a
Yes.
lot of people don't know. But as we were talking before, this is a team that is well coached by Coach Younger, used to be a
Right.
quarterback at FIU. And,
Right.
and they have athletes, including a running back who may be as good as you'll find.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about how that's getting you ready for this stretch now.
Yeah, last week I was actually talking to some of my other coaches about how well their team played. I did not realize how talented they were. Little small town, but well coached, well disciplined team. It really got us prepared for this game. I mean, they had us on the ropes for a few minutes, over there. I really think that they're doing a great job over there at Rockledge. And as far as the schedule's concerned, we try to schedule who we can.
Yeah, I know.
Who wants to play us,
Outside
what
your
I'm saying?
district.
Exactly, and that's how we were able to get the Rockledge team. And then, when teams say, okay, we want to play, they got something.
Right.
And so, and that's when the Rockledge team came about, us playing them. Yeah.
Coach, you're down here in Florida. It's the goal is always try to get to the States.
Yes, sir.
What do you guys need to do to get over that hump and get to where you want to be?
I'll be very honest with you. We got to be more disciplined.
Yep.
I mean, we've.
Yep.
I haven't the stats in front of me, but we have an enormous amount of penalties. It's killing us. It's shooting us in the foot right now. To be honest with you, it cost us the game. The Booker team. One of the things.
Well, look, I think you look across the board at every level of football, from the pros down to probably down to Pop Warner. Pre-snap penalties are the bane of winning football teams.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And on the other hand, it's only been 2 years since you won a state title. So
Exactly.
it's not like you've been out of the mix for a long time. You still have a lot of the nucleus, a lot of those kids, left from last year's team that were really quality. But Southridge has always had just the ability from the youth leagues, from kids coming in, to always field a really competitive and athletic team. Talk about this team this year, and what last year you're looking for Michael Cox to bring you back, and this year you have no real defined stars. Everybody plays. Talk about how that's helped you too.
Well, see, there is no one standout guy, which makes the team, I guess, gel a little bit better. I will tell you that on the defensive side of the ball, Chris McDonald, our number one cornerback, who is a signee, it's going to be a signee of Akron, and Courtney Reese on the offensive side of the ball as well.
UNLV. That's mine.
UNLV.
UNLV.
Yeah. And by the way, they both with me on my Pop Warner team to go to nationals. So, but what I'm trying to say is that there is no one. We had Michael Cox and De Leon, Scaife, and Mark Noodles Pope last year, and Aquarius Wiggins, all those kids that are at UM right now. Yeah. And, we were dependent on those guys. Hey, let's get us over the hump. But now it's a team effort right now.
Well, Coach, wish you the best of luck. Be a good game tonight, and best of the season. Keep you guys healthy and have some fun out there.
Thank you.
Appreciate you stopping by.
And I love the wings over there at Bo Campus.
I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you.
It's funny, I almost went to UNLV too. So I almost,
that's right.
I got recruited by Ron Meyer.
All right.
Let me get Mike Gesicki. You got
Penn State. You want to get in?
Mike, how you doing, man?
What's up, Mike? Good seeing
you.
How you doing?
Nice seeing you. Larry Bluestein, Mike Gesicki here.
How we doing?
Hey, little high school football on Friday night. You kind of has to bring you back to your high school days and those Friday night lights a little bit, huh?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is something that me and my friends, growing up back in high school. I mean, that was the biggest thing to us back then, and playing in front of your community, playing in front of your family, your friends, all the people you grew up in front of. It's a really cool experience.
You had an opportunity to grow up, not only in an area that is conducive for football, but a college town that. I mean, it doesn't matter who they're playing. Down South Florida, people are more selective on which games. But State College on a Saturday night, you can't find a place. Talk about that feeling too.
Oh, I mean, State College, and in terms of Penn State football and everything that atmosphere has to bring. I mean, it doesn't really get much better or bigger than that. I mean, they're playing tomorrow night, and they got the whiteout game.
Oh, they're camping out. They're camping out. I saw yesterday.
They've been sleeping outside the stadium since Monday. So
Ohio State, Penn State.
Oh yeah, it's none bigger.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome for them. 110,000 people there. It's an awesome atmosphere.
Mike, it's remarkable to me how Penn State has rebuilt that program from what went on in the past. You thought that was a death penalty. You thought that team was never going to, and then lo and behold, blink your eyes and you're back in the national picture.
Oh yeah, I mean, when Bill O'Brien took that job, he did a great job, kind of keeping Penn State afloat, and the older guys on that team that stuck around, and they were able to kind of build that, rebuild that foundation for us, and then my class and the class before mine, we were able to kind of build it back up, and now you look at Penn State and. Now it's season in, season out. They're top 10. They got big games, primetime games, all that kind of stuff.
Great campus too. I mean, that Penn State Creamery. You didn't eat much there. I'll tell you that. That's some of the best, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Hey, Mike, let's talk a little bit about your season now with the Dolphins. 3-0, big game in New England, big division game, and those are the games that are important. An opportunity to maybe get over the hump here with this football team. But it's about your football team, and I tell you, the one thing I look at. Man, speed kills, and you guys got a lot of speed on that football team.
Absolutely.
I mean, you look at these guys running down the field, add yourself to the mix, which really makes this offense, I think, a very exciting offense, and it's going to be fun to watch week in and week out.
Yeah, I mean, especially, with the system that we run, so many guys can do so many different things, and then when you add in that speed aspect to it between, Jakeem and Albert and Kenny, I mean, those are guys.
Kenyon in there, too?
Yeah, Kenyon. I mean, just all the guys on the offensive side of the football. I mean, you even see Ryan, pull it and take it. There's so many guys that can make so many plays for us, and I think that's been a huge reason why we've had some success here to start off the season.
In this field right here, one of your teammates made probably history in playing quite a few games. Frank Gore.
Okay.
Talk about what it's like to be with a Hall of Fame guy on not just on the field, but in that locker room, in the airplane, wherever you guys may be. He's in the offensive unit. You are too.
Yeah.
I mean, this has got to be kind of like a pinch yourself moment.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Frank is, obviously, I think that his stats and everything that he's brought to the football field kind of speak for itself. But even outside of that, Frank's an awesome mentor for the younger guys. He's a great person to look at in terms of work ethic and what he's been through and what he's done to get where he is today. So to be able to have him as a resource, it's awesome, and I think that that's another reason why you see some of the maturity and some of the success that we're having is because of guys like Frank and some of the older guys on our team that have seen that success and they've been through a lot.
Mike, you look at the NFL different than college football. How has your experience been in the games? Have you enjoyed it? Do you see a difference? The bands aren't out there and stuff. It's a little different thing, but the excitement level is certainly there.
Right.
Do you enjoy playing at this level and the difference between what you're doing here as opposed to what your college career was all about?
Absolutely. Obviously, this is the best of the best. So you know, in college, you know, you kind of see some players that you'll be able to go out there and just be, you know, physically better than, faster than, stronger than. Here, I mean, everybody's big, everybody's fast, everybody's strong. So, you know, you really have to, you know, focus on your technique and focus on the minor details to be able to have success. And, you know, I've been able to kind of see how some of the older guys and, you know, some of the more experienced guys have gone about, you know, practice and gone about, you know, preparation and things like that to be able to have success on Sundays.
Have you had any conversations with Jerome and Raekwon on with the upcoming game here tomorrow night?
Yeah, definitely. You know, we kind of have mixed emotions about it. You know, obviously they think that they got this one in the bag, but you know, I'm supporting Penn State. You know, we got myself, Mike Hull, and Cam Wake, and you know, we've all been talking about it all week. So we're excited about the game tomorrow night.
Yeah, Cam Wake's a good subject. How's he on the football field at that age, still going like that?
Oh,
I mean, those Penn State battles must be epic already, or not yet?
You know, I mean, just going against him in OTAs and training camp. I mean, right then and there, you're already going against, you know, one of, you know, if not, you know, the best defensive end in the NFL, you know. So, you know, having that experience and having those reps before the first game even started has been awesome. And then just watching Cam, you know, how he prepares and how he, you know, his work ethic and, you know, his nutrition. I mean, everything and anything that you can think of, you know, Cam does it, you know, perfect. So I think that he's, you know, a great example of, you know, how to have success in this league.
Mike, I look around college football and I see neon green uniforms and all black uniforms and this and that. Do you ever see Penn State ever going away from that traditional white and blue that they wear?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not, man. That's kind of, you know, what Penn State takes pride in. You know, that tradition and, you know, what they stand for and all that kind of stuff. And so, I mean, I don't see them changing that anytime soon. And, I mean,
So Coach comes in and says, hey, I want to try something different. He's going to meet a lot of resistance on the
It would not go over well.
Good thing Chip Kelly didn't take that job, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Week 1 against Tennessee was the first time I worn white cleats in a football game since high school. So it was very interesting.
Well, Mike, it's been great having you here, looking for big stuff out of you. And
awesome. Good luck,
I know that every week you're kind of getting a better feel for it and getting more opportunities out there. And look, for as much as they said, oh, geez, you know, he could catch, but I'm not sure about his blocking. You've been doing some good blocking out there. You've been given the opportunity to work on it. It looks like your work is paying off.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's, you know, an aspect of my game that I take a lot of pride in. You know, our coaches have done a great job, you know, putting me in position to be successful. And then at the end of the day, man, you just got to go out and make the plays, whether it's in the pass game, the run game, pass protection, whatever it is. Go out, execute, do your job, and you know, just kind of play your role.
Good hang out, watch the game a little bit.
Yeah, Bluestein and then Donnie Solinger, who was Donnie, how many years?
Good job, man.
How many years were you at Southridge?
I was there 12 years.
Well, you got to talk to the mic here now.
Frankie's coach.
Yeah, I was there 12 years.
12 years, and then University of Miami, and you've
back to Southridge. I was at Southridge, and then
you've seen a lot of really good football, and and same with you, a lot of really good football players come out of this area.
Coached a lot of good.
It's crazy,
football. I coached Cedric. You know, Cedric played for Saban at Michigan State.
Yeah.
He wouldn't even give me the time of day at Miami. We met him at the Torres Steakhouse, and I said, that's it. He wouldn't even talk to me.
Right.
I said, I coached you for 3 years. He wouldn't even talk to me.
Jad, you had quite a few kids that played, not just necessarily in this game, but Palmetto's been one of those teams on and off throughout the years. Yeah, I mean, they've always had guys like the kid Cooper, Markeith Cooper, who is awesome. And we know Southridge's history. When you guys were running the show, then it went kind of like, stagnant for a while, but it's made its way back. And you know as well as I do, when you're building from Gould's and South Miami Heights and those areas like that, and then some of the fringe areas, you could win every year.
Well, it's funny. When I was at Killian and the job opened up, and I said, Phyllis, let's get in the car and go down and look at the communities. I drove in through Gould's, South Miami Heights, and then I went into Cutler Ridge. I said, what a mix of players, with the black community, Hispanic and white. It was a great mix of guys. Matter of fact, sadly, there was a guy about 3 or 4 weeks ago passed away. Charles Ratty played on the 83.
Charles, I remember Charles.
Played at Columbia. He had a massive heart attack, and I ran into some of the players, and there were just some great ball players, man.
Yeah.
I had some great guys.
Donnie, you look at football in Dade, and now Broward County is becoming certainly competitive at the highest level here with some of the teams that they've got there. But the growth of high school football in South Florida since you've been down here has been pretty astronomical.
It's really unbelievable, you know, especially with the passing leagues and things like that. It bothers me a little bit. I go into Miami and I talk a little bit about entitlement and stuff like that. There's a lot of things going on that I don't think are good because I'm a community guy. Yeah. But right now, like I was just, the guy was showing me, this guy here was showing me the Rockledge film, and Roscoe Parrish's son is playing here. Yeah. So I guess he's from, Roscoe. I don't know if he's staying in Coconut Grove, but he's playing.
But he plays here.
And see, and that's what it is. You almost
can't ask anybody any of that anymore.
That's I mean, to me, to me, high school football is community football.
That's what
guys that played Pop Warner, Optimus League, whatever youth league you played, and then you played it at the elementary school level and the junior high school and high school, and then high school is kind of like the culmination of all of it. And I think with all the free movement, the free transfer that it takes away. It takes away from
too, Kim. I
think. But the private schools have always been doing that.
Yeah, but which is okay. You know, I mean, if you want to go to private school, go to private school. But I never went out to get a guy. I wanted the kids in my community. I wanted the people in my community to be proud of the kids and what they were doing. You're dating yourself, Kim. Yeah. I mean, really, it's old school. Yeah, you got to do that now. You know, you got to go out and do that now.
Well, there's still some of the schools, and unfortunately, it's the schools that aren't having the success at the other schools that are still. You know, Weston was a good example when Western High School last year. You know, they went to play. Good football team, and they had all local guys.
Local guys,
you know. Some of the guys had gone to other schools, but they were left over with the local guys, and they made it work.
You know, it's funny. I let my certificate finally go. 2018, 2018. You know, is ended my certificate. I would have gone back. It's just too hard. Yeah. I don't believe in recruiting. I believe in a good work ethic. I believe in character, you know, good work ethic and things like that. Even when I recruited at Miami, that's what I never, if a kid asked me, what kind of running backs you have in your room? I didn't recruit the kid. Yeah. You tell me, in that room was Frank Gore, was Peyton, was, McGahee, was, you name it, was Portis. They were all in the same room. Yeah. And they said, they wanted to compete. That's all they wanted to do. And I said, you have to work if you want to play. And that's the way it is.
You were a tremendous recruiter back in the day, and I ran into you a lot of different places. What was the one kid that got away? Because you had a lot of really good, and you had you had the Orlando area.
I went into Tallahassee, Madison County. The kid that got away, they still don't talk to me. Was Gino Hayes, who played at Cincinnati. He was a linebacker at FSU. His dad worked in the prison up there. And I told him, I said, I'm going up to see Gino Hayes. He's going to come down on a visit. I said, I can't get in the home, but I'm going to prison to see his dad. Right. So I go to the prison, see the dad, everything's set up, talk to Gino, talk to coaches. I get back, I'm getting ready to fly back. He says, cancel his visit. I said, what are you, crazy? I said, this guy's the best linebacker in North Florida. Might be the best linebacker in the state. He was a beast. And the family doesn't talk to me. That the coaches don't talk to me, nothing. And I had to do that. That was probably my most disappointing one because he was a big-time player.
So you two guys have seen a lot of high school football down here. I'm going to ask you both the same thing. Best high school football player you've seen come out of Dade County.
Best high school football player come out of Dade County. Golly.
For me, I'll tell you, it was Rufus Ferguson, because I thought that he was more. He came out the same year as Nat Moore, and he lost the rushing title by 5 yards to Nat with 70 less carries. He became the first African American to start in the Big Ten at Wisconsin.
I'm going to tell you something, and it's a shame. I coached a kid that played at FSU that didn't make it in the pros and should have made it in the pros. Tony Smith. Tony Smith held the Russian title in Dade County for almost 12 years. Wow. And I used to pull him after the third quarter of every game. He had like 1592 or 93. Right. If I left him in games, he would have had 3,000 yards in the season. The guy was unbelievable.
It's almost a leading question. When somebody asks me that now, would I say in his generation.
Yeah.
Like the kid out of Edison, Cox,
Darryl Cox.
Was it Darryl Cox? Everybody had seen him play, said, "Wow, he's as good as you get." So, to me, it's by the generations. Pete Williams back in the '40s.
Oh yeah, there's
Lee Corso and those guys.
How about?
Well, look. You look at players today as opposed to 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. The training's different.
Yeah.
They're stronger.
No
They've
question.
got in the weight room before. They're in the weight room in 8th grade.
Yeah.
And, so the improvements in training techniques and all those things, equipment and everything, it certainly changes the playing field. But you still, the quality of players throughout the line.
So just a couple of guys I've had. Think about Winston Moss, what he
yeah,
did.
what a
As a freshman, he won a national championship, was on a starter on a national championship team, had an 11-year career, and he's the assistant head coach at Green Bay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
He was unbelievable. How about Steve Everett? Was at Michigan, a center, was
Great
unbelievable.
center.
I mean, you look at guys that were
Difference
really
makers,
good.
the Davis
Troy
brothers.
Davis should have won the Heisman Trophy. He's the only back in the history of college football to get 2,000 back to back. And he's a little midget, but I mean, he was a hell of a. That team that I coached in the '90s, in the early '90s, was voted the team of the '90s in Florida, and there were just one guy after another. Lamont was on that team. Cedric was on that team.
And the number one linebacker in the country at the time that went to FSU.
That's right.
And obviously, it's amazing. And Lamont Green.
I appreciate it, man.
Hey, it's good seeing you
It's
guys,
always
man.
good to see you.
Tim. Yeah.
I don't feel dated when I run
You
into
look
you.
great, Larry. Nice seeing
Appreciate
you
it,
guys, man. Nice seeing you guys. Take care.
All right, take care.
Appreciate it. So before we wrap this up, Larry, let's kind of get back to where we were.
Yeah, we
That's why
talked about him.
I was kind of, leaning towards Frank Gore in there a little bit. I thought
We just did a segment on him.
I thought I was leading you to him right there. Getting back to where we were talking about the Dolphins, and as we kind of wrap this thing up, but the opportunity that's presented for him, and Larry, we talked about to Mike Gesicki. I look at this team, and I look around the National Football League, watch a lot of games, and boy, it just seemed to me that this league is becoming about speed and athleticism. Rule changes. Don't need to be that tough physical guy so much anymore if you've got that speed, because you can't rough guys up. They've got a little free run out there. You can't hit them. The quarterbacks pretty much can do what they want. So, I like where they're at with. I like where they're at in today's NFL with the speed on both sides of the football.
And this is what Adam Gase brings to the table, and people have to understand. They think that automatically he comes, from the really positive coaching tree. So when he gets here, everything's going to unfold in a year. It's not going to happen, but you can see it.
Yeah.
You could really see it, and people believe in this team now, and they believe in themselves. And like I said, this week won't define them, but it will get them over that magical hump.
If
that
they can get the job done, and it's a big if.
And it is a huge if. But if they work out, and I mean, if they work this thing out and are on that plane coming back undefeated at 4-0, you're in a whole new territory that you've been in.
Well, look, you've got one win under your belt. You got 2 wins under your belt in the AFC East,
yes,
both on the road.
Yes.
So you got that taken care of if you can get that done. So it's a big step for them.
Everything leading in everything is actually blowing in their direction. Right
and I've talked to Adam enough, and he said, this is my kind of team. These are the guys I want, and you can see it. And he's taking advantage of all the guys. Got a lot of mismatches and stuff. And so I think, and I think you touched on something to me that's very important. I think this community. I think the franchise has been a little quick on the trigger with some coaches.
They have.
You guys come in, you want to, I take Tony Sperano, for example.
Yeah.
God bless him. He passed away a couple weeks ago, but Tony was a guy kind of wanted to play that old Bill Parcells, big tough. So you got to transition your team. You got to get the guys that fit what you want to do. And 3 years on, no, he hasn't done it. Get him out.
Right,
this guy hasn't done it. Get him out.
Yeah.
That guy.
That's the mentality.
So I think we've got a guy now that everyone believes in, and that look, if they struggle towards the rest, I think they still got the benefit of the doubt that he's got this train moving in the right direction, and you could see it.
Most definitely.
And you can see the positive feel in the positive direction. So my only thing is, if things don't work out the way everyone kind of got this panacea of what might happen, that he still gets the opportunity to continue and do the job, because I think he's doing a great job so far.
Yeah,
the longer he's here, the better this franchise is going to be.
I will tell you this: Stephen Ross does not want to start over again. I mean, believe me, this he doesn't want to keep President reset. Yeah. He's got something positive now, and I will tell you this: once this little train gets rolling, he'll make sure that it stays that way. This is somebody who backs up what he says, and you know what? If he loves Adam Gase, he loves what he's doing, and he'll make sure that he's in these colors for a long time.
That's right. You can watch that game or listen to it on 560 WQAM 99.9 FM, so you can hear Joe Rose, Jimmy Cefalo, and Bob Greasy with the call of the game. Should be a good one. Larry, before we go here, I'm going to ask you the question, but I think I already know the answer. Who are you taking in this one?
I'm going to take Southridge.
Yeah,
I mean, they're only like 15-3 against them, but this is the thing. If Palmetto plays mistake-free football, which is kind of tough, it'll be a game. If not, then the same thing. And then they'll have to rely, like Coach Menescal said, watching points. And you don't want to do that. A win tonight, you don't have to watch points.
Yeah. All right, hey, I want to thank Nike for bringing us the Audible High School Football Friday. We're live from Tropical Park in South Florida. We're excited to be part of the high school football season with Nike all week long, all year long. Been going, I don't know, where we're going to be next week. Do we know? You know, so yes, Leon. Yes, Leon, for information, and you get nothing. It's like talking to a wall. I think we're going to go West Broward.
Oh,
West Broward,
okay.
South Plantation. All right, so that's going to do it for tonight. Should be a good game tonight.
Yeah.
And, going to be an exciting night. A lot of good football out here. Someone's going to be happy when they leave this field.
Yeah, somebody
will.
will.
Be happy one way or another. It doesn't
too.
really matter to me. So I'll watch a good game and then I'll move on. That's going to do it for the program. We'll see you again next week. Not the same time, but it'll be somewhere else. What the hell? We'll just see you next week.